All right, let's talk about something almost everyone has dealt with at some point, that dreaded ankle sprain. It's one of those injuries we tend to just brush off, but getting the recovery right, it's absolutely crucial. So let's get into it.
You know the feeling, right? You're just walking along, maybe you hit an uneven bit of pavement, or you're in the middle of a game, and bam, your foot just rolls in a way it was never meant to. That sharp, awful feeling, yeah, it's a story we've all heard or even lived through. It can happen literally anytime, anywhere.
So what's the first thing everyone says? Oh, just rest it. Prop it up, throw some ice on it, and just wait. But here's the big question. Is that actually the right answer? Because as we're going to find out, just waiting it out can set you up for some much bigger problems later on.
Okay, so what is actually going on inside your ankle when that happens? Well, it's all about your ligaments. Think of them like these super tough elastic bands that hold your bones together and keep everything stable. When you roll your ankle, you're basically stretching those bands way past their limit, sometimes even tearing them. And that is the sprain.
And this right here is the part that everyone needs to hear. Even if it feels like just a mild sprain, not treating it properly can lead to some really serious long-term headaches. I'm talking about chronic instability, where your ankle just feels wobbly, or stiffness that just won't go away. And the absolute worst part, you get trapped in this frustrating cycle of spraining it over and over and over again.
Okay, so when do you stop trying to just tough it out and actually get some professional help? Let's go over some of the big signs, the ones you really, really shouldn't ignore. So take a look at this list. If any of these sound familiar, that's your body basically screaming for a proper recovery plan. Pain or swelling that just hangs around? That's a classic. Can't walk or put weight on it without wincing? Huge red flag. And hey, if you're the person who's always saying, I rolled my ankle again, that's not just bad luck. That's a real sign of instability. Basically, any weakness, stiffness, or pain that rest isn't fixing, that's your cue to take action. But here's the good news. There is a way out of this. There's a clear roadmap to get you back to feeling strong and confident on your feet. And a real physio program isn't just a list of random exercises, it's a step-by-step journey that's built specifically for you.
So how does this roadmap actually work? Let's walk through it. First up, a deep dive assessment. We got to know exactly what we're dealing with. Then step 2 is all about getting that initial pain and swelling under control. Once that's settled, we work on getting your full range of motion back. Then, and only then, do we start building back strength, not just in the ankle, but in your whole leg. Now this next part is super cool, and it's called proprioception training. It's a fancy word, but think of it like this. It's your brain's sense of where your ankle is without you having to look at it. After a sprain, that connection gets all scrambled. This training is like rebooting your body's internal GPS system so you trust where you're stepping again. And finally, it all comes together with retraining for your actual life, getting you back to walking, working, or playing sports without a second thought.
All right, let's get into a couple of the questions I hear all the time about ankle sprains. And believe me, the answers to these are game changers.
Okay, here's the big one. Do I really need physio for a mild sprain? I mean, you roll it, it hurts for a couple of days, and then it feels kind of okay, right? It's so tempting to just forget about it and get back to normal. But does that little injury really need a professional to look at it?
And the answer is 1,000% yes. Here's why. Even those mild sprains leave behind these little hidden problems. A bit of weakness here, a little less balance there. Physio is all about finding and fixing those small issues before they turn into a big, recurring problem. It's about breaking the cycle before it even starts.
Okay, next question. And this one is for anyone who feels like they're living in a nightmare of re-injury. Why do I keep spraining the same ankle? You feel like you're healed, and then boom, you're right back where you started. What is going on?
9 times out of 10, the answer is simple. The first rehab job wasn't finished. When you don't fully get your balance, your control, and your strength all the way back, you leave your ankle vulnerable. It's kind of like patching a tire but not filling it with enough air. It might look okay, but the first bump you hit, it's going to fail again. That weakness is just waiting for the next misstep.
So what this all comes down to is a choice. You really have 2 very different paths you can take for your recovery. And where you end up is, well, it's worlds apart.
Just look at the difference here. On the one hand, you've got the just rested approach. That often leads to more sprains, that wobbly, unstable feeling, and a weakness that just kills your confidence. But on the other side,
a proper structured program. We're talking restored stability, a way lower risk of it happening again, real strength and mobility, and the big one, getting back to everything you love to do without that fear in the back of your mind. Look, a sprained ankle doesn't have to be a life sentence. It doesn't have to be this thing that holds you back. With the right game plan, you can absolutely break that cycle and build a foundation that's stronger than ever. So the real question is, are you ready to stop just getting by and start walking with real, solid confidence again?